Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is your boy, KQS456, back here once again. And today, we're talking about... this is going to be a hard topic. We're talking about a cinematic universe that had all of the potential in the world. The one universe with the biggest potential to upset Marvel, at least at the time, and was crushed under the weight of executive panic. The Snyderverse. Now, the Snyderverse started out as a really good idea. It really did. The plan was massive, an interconnected saga built on several solo films. Those being Man of Steel, a Ben Affleck solo Batman film he also would be directing as well as starring in, a Wonder Woman solo film, Aquaman, Flash, and Cyborg to round out the core members of the League. The main story would revolve around Batman v Superman, and then a huge planned Justice League trilogy. Alongside that, there was another film that ended up being David Ayer's Suicide Squad, meant to set up the villains. So, what went wrong? Well, here's what went wrong. First major crack in this new universe happened immediately after Batman v Superman. The film was critically divisive, and while yes, it made a lot of money at the box office, the darker tone of it scared the Warner Brothers and DC higher-ups. They wanted to compete with the MCU, Marvel Cinematic Universe. And they thought the path to doing that was lighter, more comedic type films. This panic greatly affected the next film coming out, being David Ayer's Suicide Squad in 2016. Ayer's original version of the film was 4 hours long and was intended to truly tie into Justice League as the overarching plan. Spoilers, even though the film wasn't out yet. It originally supposed to end with it being revealed that the Enchantress was being controlled by a mother box that was in use of Steppenwolf, who is one of Darkseid's chief generals. During test screenings of the film, there were 2 versions that were cut for the film, the original Ayer cut and what I called the EU cut. The fans really, they liked bits and pieces of either one, so DC took the smart idea, chop them up, send them to another company to stitch them together, and then release it in films. That's where you get all the crazy psychedelic-looking effects from. It did not make the film better. If anything, it made it way worse, as Joker's original purpose in the film was originally supposed to have a much larger role. Harley Quinn and Deadshot would have gotten together, and just various other bits of the film would have been explained a lot better. We would have been shown the relationship between Colonel Rick Flag and Dr. Scientist Jin Moon, and yeah. However, they were willing to sacrifice the filmmaker's vision. The higher-ups were just to have a universe's continuity to try and compete with Marvel. Next, we were set to get the Justice League film, the first Justice League film. And this is where the problems increased. Zack Snyder's daughter, Autumn, sadly passed away. I'd like to take a moment here to offer my deepest condolences to the Snyder family, as no parent should ever have to bury their child. It is an unimaginable pain. A moment of silence, please. As Snyder was struggling with this immense grief, the studio higher-ups, who were already angry at him for not adhering to a lighter vision for the films, kept pressuring him. In the face of this very impossible struggle, Snyder made the decision to leave and take time off to go grieve with his family. The studio brought in Joss Whedon, who had previously worked on the first Avengers film from 2012, to finish the movie. They didn't ask him to just finish it. They changed Snyder's original vision, commissioning massive reshoots and warping the film's tone, pacing, and the overall story, resulting in what fans have dubbed as Joss-Justice League, released in 2017. The original vision for the film was lost, as the studio was angry, got scared, and wanted something more akin to Avengers 2012, when the massive tonal shift quarter way through the film feels sloppy. It feels as if it's sloppy execution. And after this, we got the Suicide Squad from 2021, which was directed by writer and director James Gunn. personally, and then after Suicide Squad 21, we got a Blue Beetle solo film, which I loved. Blue Beetle, I loved it. Cholo Matafanda, I butchered the pronunciation. I'm deeply sorry for that. I love the kid. He is a phenomenal actor. He played Miguel Diaz in Cobra Kai, all 6 seasons of it. He's a good actor, a very good actor. He is like, that's perfect casting right there for Blue Beetle. Jaime Reyes. And then after that, we had Aquaman 2, Lost Kingdom, but by that point, nobody really gave a crap about the Snyderverse anymore, as we kind of already knew that James Gunn was going to essentially reboot the universe with the DCU, the DC universe, Comics universe, the DC Cinematic Universe. And there you go. Personally, I like the Snyderverse. It felt like a fresh, more mature take on DC's heroes and villains that we know, love, hate, and tolerate. The original version of the films, in my eyes, were amazing, had they been made. What we got instead was a universe that made no congruent sense. And in this new era of DC, with the DCU, and with James Gunn at the helm, they've tried to sweep the confusing continuity under the rug with what I think is a pretty lazy retcon. Now, mind you, no hate towards James Gunn. I love him. He has a phenomenal creative vision. And basically every movie the guy touches just becomes gold. Same thing with the shows. We got Creature Commandos, which is amazing. Peacemaker, which the show is... It's very good. Aside from like this one thing that I have to grab about, aside from that, it's very good. And, of course, the Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy. Superman 25 was really good, and a couple others. Now, in the Peacemaker series, we see Peacemaker there in a dream sequence looking at the DCEU Justice League. However, in another dream sequence, he sees the DCU Justice Gang from the Superman film. This feels like a very quick and lazy way to wave off the years of storytelling of the DCEU and usher in the DC universe. As Suicide Squad 2021, the film that Peacemaker was introduced in, is said to be a sequel to Suicide Squad 2016, which was set in the DCEU. Did we just like did I just uncover like different like a paradox type deal right here? Because I've heard people say, "Oh yeah, Suicide Squad 21 is a reboot of the 2016 David Ayer film." But no, that can't be a thing. Because then why is Harley Quinn here? Same actress, same accent, same backstory. And why is Rick Flag played by the same actor then, who has very clear allusions to the 2016 film, and even makes a reference to it? Yeah, I don't think they thought that out well. Aside from that, so the show vaguely telling us, oh yeah, DCU is just a dream. It's incredibly lazy, in my opinion. It seems like a very cheap way to retcon it. I feel like if you had just made it be like, oh yeah, this is like the DCU is a different universe from like a more lighthearted take on the DC universe than the DCEU was, and have them be separate universes, with Peacemaker going from one universe to the next, I feel like that would have been a better fit. That would have been like an easier way to clarify it. It really would have. Ultimately, the Snyderverse was a very bold concept, underdone by a lack of conviction from the studio. Them changing plans, axing various concepts in order to try and compete with their longtime rival, that being Marvel Comics, ultimately was their downfall. They got lucky with Man of Steel. Batman v Superman was bad. Oh, it was... Personally, I liked it just because Batman donning up in a massive suit of armor and then fighting Superman a la Dark Knight Returns Part 2. That was very cool. Not Part 2, just Dark Knight Returns, sorry. That was very cool. I enjoyed Henry Cavill's take on Superman. Corn Sweat, the new Superman, he plays it good. He plays it good. I heard... I believe it was Doomblazer. He's another YouTuber, does a lot of Marvel DC content. and just covers various films, shows, stuff like that. Please do check him out. He's one of the guys that actually inspired me to come back to YouTube. He's a phenomenal YouTuber, phenomenal man. The Snyderverse, it's kind of hit or miss. You like, I feel like no one thought the Snyderverse was just average. You either loved it or you hated it. At least when when it was still going on. You either were like guy like Neo Mouse Productions, whom really didn't like the takes that Zack Snyder did on the characters, namely Batman v Superman, or a guy like me whom liked it, but even then I didn't like all parts of it. Flash 23, aside from Sasha Calle playing Supergirl, which was a phenomenal casting choice, by the way. I loved the rage that she brought to the character. Bring back Zod was phenomenal. And of course, Michael Keaton reprising his role as Batman, Bruce Wayne, was very cool. But I'll say Ezra Miller brought it down, not by his acting or anything, but just, once again, by the script. And of course, there's certain real-life things that goes along with that, but I'm not going to get into that, as I'm still mostly PG-friendly. But yeah, the Snyderverse, I loved it. DCU looks incredibly promising, due to the fact that James Gunn, once again, is at the helm. As a result of that, I throw it up to you, the fans, viewers, and stuff like that. So, what are your guys' thoughts? Should Warner Bros. Have just let Snyder go with his original vision for the films unimpeded? Do you believe a bit of studio interference was necessary in order to make the films better? Or did you actually like what we got as a final product? Make sure to leave your comments, questions, concerns, inquiries, and all that stuff, or maybe personal comments for me, in the comment section down below. And while you guys are done, make sure to like, comment, well, again, subscribe, ring that little bell, and make sure to share with anybody whom is a comic book fan. I've been thinking about getting into power scaling more recently. And power scaling is it's a pain to do, really it is, because you have to do a lot of math, and I'm not good at math, but yeah, I'll do it. Okay. So, yep, that's basically that. Have fun, everybody, and I will see you all next time. See ya!